This is The Spot, a BYU-Idaho radio production where we talk about what you're talking about at BYU-Idaho. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho radio or the university and are solely the opinions of the host. Today's hosts are
Austin Pace,
Hallie,
Dallen Larsen,
and Maiya Waddell. Today we're talking all about dating and marriage.
Oh, we have them all covered. Thank goodness. Okay, so I had this kind of silly idea, right? So I brought you guys on because you guys are dating, right? I'm married, Maiya's single. Not to call you out or anything, but so we're kind of covering like most everything about dating. So we'll have a lot of different perspectives on it, and I'm really excited for it. We're going to start spot takes because I have one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because it's going to get controversial.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
But not really. I don't know. Okay, so my spot take is guys usually get the short end of the stick when it comes to dating. Dallen, help me out here, okay?
Okay.
So, my opinion, okay? I've been in a few different relationships before, and whenever something wrong happens, the girl always seemed to blame me. And I was like, it was all my fault, right? So I'm like, okay, first, hold on, pause. If there's a breakup, if there's something wrong happening, there's gotta be error on both sides, right? Not just one side. But it was always my fault. And I saw that trend with a bunch of my roommates, a bunch of my friends from high school. So my spot take is that guys get the short end of the stick when it comes to dating and arguments in general.
For sure. I would agree with that to a point.
Okay.
I think that it depends on how obsessed the girl is with you. I guess in my opinion. If she's super obsessed with you, then minor things are not going to push her away. But if she's kind of more confident in herself and it's the other way around, then it might feel like that.
I'll take it. I like that.
Yeah.
Maiya, what's your spot take?
Mine is actually more of a question. I don't have much experience with dating, but I was curious how you guys know that one person, if you know them for you.
Oh my gosh.
That's a good question for us then.
Okay, listen, I have no clue.
Really?
So I when people would say like, when you know, I'm like, that's a load of crap. Like, for real, when you know, give me something better. But like, for real, when you know, that's how you phrase it. When you know. It was just one of those things where I was like, one day it just clicked, and I was like, I don't want to spend my life with anyone else other than this person, right? So like when it comes to, I guess, getting married, that's how it feels. In like on more of a dating aspect, like, okay, yeah, I want to date this person, right? It's, for me, it was, I would like to spend all of my time with this one person. And I have zero interest in spending time with anybody else.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys can agree with that. Yeah? Hallie, what do you think?
Well, I don't know.
When it comes to like the dating spot, I know you're not getting married or anything, but like when it comes to dating.
Like when I decide to have a boyfriend, or
how do you decide, okay, I want to take this from just casual dating or like going on dates to, hey, I want to commit?
I guess it's like when I actually see potential in a future spouse with them. Because it took me 2 months to just say yes when he asked, because I just wasn't sure if I wanted to spend all my time with him, because I didn't know if I knew him enough. And I did that with all my boyfriends. I would make them wait. One guy I made 2 years wait, and
Cool.
Yeah, I had to ask like 3 times. But,
amen.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
Thank you.
All right, so for my first little talking point, I want to talk about dating culture in different places. So, Maiya, you're from Houston.
Yes.
I'm from Arizona. Tennessee.
I'm from Idaho.
Okay, so we have 4 different states, and there's going to be different dating cultures in all of them, right? So let's start with you, Dallen. What's the dating culture like, I guess, what part of Idaho?
Burley.
Okay, what's the dating culture like there?
Like, you're talking about in high school or?
Yeah, I'm like high school.
Okay. I'd say pretty much everyone has a boyfriend or girlfriend.
Okay.
There's not a lot of just like dating around. And so I pretty much had a serious girlfriend almost every year of high school.
Yeah.
So, but my parents really wanted me to go around and date a bunch of people, but that's just not how it was.
Yeah.
So.
I'm guessing it's the same.
It was the same for us, but my friend group, I was around a lot of members too, so we'd just go on dates with each other, but then we got called weird a lot of the times because we'd just go on dates with our friends, or I'd get called a hoe a lot because I'd just go on dates with just my friends and just be like, we're doing this, and they're like, so you went on a date with like 4 guys this week? And I'd be like, yeah, and they're like, that's not normal. And I was like, okay.
Cool.
But then other times I'd just have a boyfriend and I'd be fine.
For me, I grew up around a ton of members. Like my high school was 98% LDS. It was. I went to 2 high schools. One of them 98% LDS. Other one, 2 out of the 165 people weren't members in my graduating class. So it's like I grew up around a lot of members. So we all kind of had that standard. And I went on so many dates with so many different people throughout high school. Like, of course, you wanted to have somebody that you would like, hey, I kind of want to get to know you better. Like, I'm really interested in you. And you would date. But it was a little bit different. Like, it wasn't like we were like superly committed, hey, like we don't go to dances with anybody else but each other, right? Because like in my junior year high school, I was dating someone, but we saved prom for the dance that we went to together. Like prom, that was what we went to together. Other dances we would ask our friends, right? We would all go with each other just to have a good time. Because like for me, that's what dating is. Like in high school, you're just there to have a good time. Like go meet people. Like, I think it's a great way to figure out how to talk to people, how to go on a date before you're like, all right, I'm in college. I actually have to think about the future here. So I think high school is a great opportunity to, like, meet different people, figure out how to go on a date, and, like, not be so committed to one person. Because that's how it was for me in high school.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I would say for Houston, us members, we were very minuscule. There weren't a lot of members of the church at my high school. So a lot of people they were constantly dating around. The dating pool was pretty rich. And so, yeah, pretty much everybody had a boyfriend or girlfriend over there.
Amen.
So, yeah.
Super different, like everywhere you go. And I don't know, I think through Idaho, Utah, and Arizona, you get pretty similar vibes, but obviously it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I guess wherever you go.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so this next one, I have a very, very strong opinion on this. Because I see things, and I'm like, that doesn't seem right. And then I see other things. So I'm going to give you an example. My sisters-in-law, 2 of them. I have 2 of them. They're both dating someone, right? Hannah, she's my homie. We love Hannah. She's awesome. Lizzie, she's so hard to talk to, hard to connect with, right? They both have boyfriends. And with Hannah, her and her boyfriend have like a deep emotional connection. Like they know each other so well, and it's cute. Like you see, like they love to have fun with other people. Like they have an emotional connection. Lizzie and her boyfriend Taylor, I don't like Taylor. Sorry, if Taylor listens to this, I'm so sorry. Not like they just have a super physical relationship, and there's like no emotional grounding, right? So I guess my question is, which comes first, a physical or an emotional connection?
Definitely emotional, I'd say. When I first got to college, I decided that I wasn't gonna kiss anyone on the first date or even the second, just because I wanted to get to know them first, know who they are, if they're crazy or not, before I get to that next step to the physical. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm not sure. I have very different experiences on first dates than guys do, because a lot of the time the guys are weird, and I'm trying to make that connection, and I'm talking to them, and I guess emotional, if I think about it, because I try to talk to them, and if it's like there, then it's there, but if it's not, then you find that out right away. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Maiya, what do you think?
I would say emotional. You want to have that emotional connection before you get physical with them, I guess. Just because the way I've seen things, I think that it's just good to have that emotional connection, because if something were to happen, you want to have that. I don't know. I guess I just see it as you want to have that emotional connection.
Right. So with these two different relationships with my sisters-in-law, I see something that could last with this one over here, right? It's something that, like, they're so fun to be around, and it's like you can tell that they care for each other so much, right? With my other sister-in-law, it's really hard. It's like, what do you do other than just have a physical relationship? Like, is there a friendship there? Like, do you trust that person a ton? Like, is there like something actually blossoming, right? So for me, I think emotional connection is so important, right? You have to know who they are, right? Because I'm like, being physically intimate, like even just like with the smallest things, right? It shows a trust, right? You're trusting that person enough to be vulnerable in front of them, right? So it's like, hey, I trust you. I know that you're gonna support me. I know that you're not gonna like completely turn around and like make it weird or awkward, right? You're putting a level of trust with that person. So I think having that emotional connection, like with me and my wife now. Here's a story for you. You all ready? I know, kind of cool, huh?
It's cool.
I got a ring. But we met at FSY, right? We worked a week together, and like, you're around a bunch of kids, you're not gonna have like a super big physical connection.
Yeah.
Like, that's just gonna be weird, right? What we would do is we would teach the kids how to like swing dance. Like the whole week we were like, hey, on your lunch break, come out, we're teaching kids how to swing dance. Because the dances, they would play a bunch of swing songs, and kids were just like, I don't know what to do, right? So what we would do is we would teach kids swing dancing. And as we were teaching these kids swing dancing, we would get to know each other a lot more, right? We also had the same break schedule, so on our breaks we would get together and we would go play cornhole, or we would watch Bluey, because I had a massive TV in my room. It was dope. We would go watch Bluey, right? Or there was one day we went to the dollar store and we were like, let's grab a coloring book, like with a couple of our friends, right? And we just spent that time talking, getting to know each other. It was at like the last day of the week where it was like, hey, I feel super comfortable around her. We had a bunch of us together and we watched a movie. And it was like, hey, yeah, I would love to like, I want to cuddle. Right? That's kind of fun. And it was like, we developed that emotional connection first before like we even cuddled, before we even held hands, right? So it's just one of those things where it's like, once you have that connection, once you really do trust that person and you know who they are, then you'll want to strengthen your relationship with like that physical connection. Does that make sense? So we're all in agreement on that. Emotional comes first.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Cool. Okay. So love languages and communication styles. For me, communication is so important in a relationship. Like in my first relationship up here in college, like we just started talking. I was like, hey, if this is gonna work, we have to communicate, right? There has to be some form of communication. If there's something wrong, or if you think like if there is something up, talk to me. Let's figure it out, right? And the relationship fell short because there was zero communication, right? So communication for me, like words of affirmation, that's my love language. There's a bunch of different ones, right? So why does understanding love languages, why is that so important in a relationship? What do you guys think?
That's a good question. I think it's so important because, you know, that's the way your partner or girlfriend or spouse, feels your love, and you want to show them in the way that they're able to feel that. And you know that it'll grow the connection closer if you, I don't know, gear yourself towards what they need. So
for sure. Hallie, what do you think?
I mean, I was going to say something about that too, but he took it all. Like always, just kidding. I think it's important, like, everything he said I wanted to say, so I don't even know what to say now.
No, yeah, you said it great.
Because I was going to interrupt him, but I was like, no, I'm going to let him talk.
Amen.
I've been working on that.
Wow. Maiya, what do you think?
I think it's good because you get to know that person better when you learn their love language. That way you know how to tailor your attention, your love, everything around that, and without making it too sentence. So yeah.
Yeah. So for me, mine's words of affirmation. For Rachel, it's physical touch, right? When she feels down or like when she just needs something, give her a hug, and she's like, she's fine. She loves it. She loves just like when we're watching a movie or something, we're watching something, she's always just like cuddling up. She just loves it. She loves the physical touch because it makes her feel safe, right? For me, like having that communication and like hearing it is so relieving to me. I'm like, it just makes me feel so much better, right? It makes me come to an understanding with what that person's feeling and what I'm feeling, so we're on the same page, right? So like for me, it's the words of affirmation. But even then, communication is so important. So how does miscommunication, how could it ruin a relationship? Anybody can start. I'm not going to pick on someone.
I mean, it's as simple as if you're not communicating, some people, especially girls, can start thinking that something's going on when it's not. And sometimes they will turn to their friends and say, hey, this is going on, what do you think it is? And their friends start telling them, like, oh, maybe it's this. And instead of actually going to that person and saying, hey, what is going on here? They start believing what their friends are telling them. And the friends, a lot of the time, probably don't mean to do that. It just comes across as such. And then that's when the fire starts.
Yeah. For me, I have a very overthinking mind, so miscommunication is pretty like detrimental to me because I automatically go to the worst case scenario possible, and I hate thinking about that. So I think it's really important to again explain what's happening and get together in person and talk about it. I feel like over text is like
it can go any way. Like you can read it some certain way, and we learned that a lot. Like growing up, I learned that a lot. Was I could read it somewhat one way, but they meant it a different way.
So what do y'all think about like breakups over text or like having big conversations over text?
Never do that.
Never?
absolutely not.
Hallie?
Okay, so the way I always did it was if you asked me to be your girlfriend over text, then I was gonna break up with you over text. And that was so high school, but even if the relationship also didn't mean that much to me, I'd break up over text.
Okay.
And that's how I saw it. And if it meant more, then I'd do it in person. But that was my opinion on it.
Interesting. So you two are both quick to say no. I'm also on your side. So either of you guys can start, but what do you guys think?
Okay. Well, first of all, a breakup over text can be read over and over and over and over forever. It doesn't go away. And there's also that disconnect with that, I guess, I don't know, that connection disconnection that comes in person, and you're kind of able to like control your feelings more in person, because sometimes you'll say things over text that you wouldn't say in person, and so
I feel like over text, it's kind of like the heat of the moment, where if you're not seeing their face, like what you were saying, you're more prone to say things that you wouldn't normally say, and then the fire grows bigger. So I would say that that's probably why I would do it in person if I was working with someone.
Keyboard warriors is what I call them. Keyboard warriors. You're so quick to type something out, but you will not say it in person.
Right.
You're too scared to say it in person. So I'm like, for me, breakup, big conversations, right? Should be done in person where you can have like a connection, right? Because I mean, I don't hate anyone enough to like find joy in their suffering, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm breaking up with you, you suck. Like, I want to watch you crumble. No, like, there's obviously, I guess for me, there's obviously something that went wrong. And my first relationship in college ended pretty bad. But like I don't hate that person for it, right? I don't hate them. I was upset in the moment, kind of sucked. But I don't hate them, right? Because I found that experience was definitely a learning one for me. But if that were to happen over text, I probably would have been so much more angry, right? To have it in person, that was way nicer. Because like, I don't know, I feel like as a person, you don't want, I don't know, there's very few people, if any, that I like want to see them crumble. I don't hate anybody that much. So having just the respect for them and be like, hey, I'm gonna do this in person, because doing it over text, like you said, you're gonna read it over and over and over and over again.
Right.
And it's just gonna hurt over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think having those conversations, even like big conversations, like what are we? Right? Have that in person. Like have that connection. It's dope. It's fun. It's better that way.
Sure.
So, what are some tips for healthy and open communication styles in dating?
I'd say just be straightforward. You know, if something bothers you, then let them know, but in a kind way. And, you know, don't be rude about it. Don't get worked up in your emotions, but try to like relax and be like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. And then try to work it out and come to a compromise or a solution.
Yeah, because a lot of the time they don't know unless you tell them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time you can hide it pretty well what you're feeling. So you gotta tell them because they won't know otherwise. And I've had to tell myself that a lot of the time.
Maiya, what do you think?
Yeah, I would say having that communication really helps. And just making sure that maybe even like checking in with them and saying, hey, how are things going? You know, like, are we good? Is there anything that's bothering you? Just having those check-ins to make sure that they know that you care about them and that it's not just we're going by the seat of our pants kind of thing.
Right.
So.
I also think communication is not just words, but action as well. Like, if you see that there's obviously something wrong, right? Like, figure out what they need. Go talk to them about it. Like, a lot of times people are like, hey, I'm not gonna talk to them until they talk to me, right? It's not my problem, it's their problem. No, it's stupid, it's immature.
Right.
Like you guys were saying, be straightforward. For me, I hate beating around the bush, like with anything. I'm a very straightforward person. If I have a problem, I'm gonna tell you. And that's how it is. But we're also gonna figure out how to make it better, right? If there's a problem, I don't want to beat around the bush and avoid the problem or have them figure out what the problem is themselves. No, I'm gonna hit the problem. Be like, hey, this is what's going on. I think we can fix it. Let's figure something out together. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't have that, you're just beating around the bush. Oh, I mean, sometimes this happens, but like, it's not really bad. It's not horrible. Like, but sometimes this happens and I feel this way. No, just tell them, hey, sometimes when like you do this, I feel like diminished or upset. Let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Right? Don't beat around the bush. That's my only tip. Don't beat around the bush.
For sure.
Just go straight forward.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And also just don't sugarcoat things either.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a big thing too.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So this next one's fun because there's going to be so many different answers to this, right? So when should you establish, like when should you have the conversation of, yo, what are we? Like when should that conversation start?
Some people around here say like after like 10 dates, then you ask, but I feel like that's kind of a lot. I don't know. I'd say after even just a few weeks to a month of dating, if you're going on dates consistently, I feel like a month is about a good time. But again, it depends on the person.
Right.
Some people wait longer. Some people start dating within a week. And so for me, I'd say about a few weeks.
Okay. Hallie, what do you think?
I would agree. I think if you want to be with that person, then you should just go ahead, talk about it, figure it out, and if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. I know I get really paranoid and freaked out when people ask me to be their girlfriends because I'm like, well, now it's going to be something serious. Do I want to be with this person? If I'm with this person, will I feel stuck? Or will I feel like I can be myself and that I like this person if it could grow into something more? And I always ask myself that when I'm about to get into a serious relationship. And yeah, that's what I like.
Maiya, what do you think?
I think if you're comfortable with that person and you could see a future with them potentially, I think that could be something. Even if it's not like a marriage feature per se, but at least like you feel like you could be happy with them in that short time. And then
Okay. Here's a story for you. Here you go. We're adding on to the story of how I met my wife. Okay.
Yay.
So, met her Monday. Friday, we watched the movie and cuddled. It was fantastic. Saturday, we didn't see each other at all because we were both leaving. So the week was done. Our kids are going home. We had to make sure they got to their parents, right? We didn't see each other. But we texted a ton because we were both going back to Provo. That's where the buses were leaving us. And I was like, I'm not from there, but I had a week off. I was like, well, shoot, what am I going to do? So me and my buddy, we ended up staying with one of our friends. Not really important. But Saturday, we were already planning like, hey, we should do something, right? Saturday, I called her, and I was like, hey, do you want to go out on a date with me next week? So she was like, heck yeah. She also had a week off. And I was like, sweet, let's plan for Friday. Okay. Sunday comes around and we were both like, I'm gonna hang out with you again. Let's get a group together for pickleball. Okay. So we got this huge group and we went and played pickleball in Provo and we had a blast. Afterwards we went and got Chick-fil-A and the day was done. Right. The next day we were like, dang, I would love to see you again. Sadly, nothing could work out. And it was horrendous. It was horrible. But she invited me and my buddy and his girlfriend to go watch fireworks. So this was the 3rd of July. To go watch fireworks with her and her sister and her brother and sister-in-law. So we went and we hung out together a ton. It was awesome. It was fantastic, right? And that night, we went back to the car and my buddy lost his keys to his car. We're like, oh shoot, this is not good. We couldn't get home. So we were looking for his keys all around the car, all around Rachel's car, and we could not find it. So we decided that we were just gonna like retrace our steps. We split off into groups and we went into different directions to try and find these keys. So Rachel and I were, okay? We were walking, trying to figure out where these keys were. There wasn't much conversation because we were like, I was like, how am I gonna get home? This is so silly. Yeah. I got a call about half an hour in. It was like, hey, we found the keys, come back to the car. At that point, Rachel and I are about a 20-minute walk from the car. And on our way back, I grabbed her hand and we talked the whole way back. And we were like, we had the, well, are we conversation? We hadn't even gone on our first date yet, okay? But we had this conversation, right? We got back to the car. We were the first ones back. And in that moment, we decided we were going to start dating, right? Mm-hmm. So, interesting case. We were already dating before we went on our first date, right? So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I've told people this story, they're like, you're an idiot, you're crazy, what are you doing? But I'm like, I'm obviously married, bro. Like, it worked out for me. So what do you guys think?
I guess it just depends on the person, and like it depends on what your plan is in the moment. I guess it's like it worked out for you, but it may not work out for someone else.
Right.
So I guess it just depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree with that very much because like it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah. What she said.
Yep. So I was very, before that moment, I was like, hey, you have to, I had a number. I was like, hey, you got to go on a few dates, give it a couple weeks, make sure you want to spend your time with that person. But in the moment, I was like, yeah, no, I want to spend my time with this person. I want it to work out. Okay. So this brings up another topic, okay? I go to school here. Rachel went to school in Provo. We were both doing FSY, and we both had 4 more weeks of working in completely different locations. So brought up the question, like, shoot, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna try this whole distance thing, right? Mm-hmm. People avoid that conversation so fast. Like, nope, not doing distance. Absolutely not. So what are your guys' thoughts on distance dating? Yes or no? Why or why not?
I think it depends. If you, like, from people that I've seen, they've met their dates online. And I think with, like, online dating, I wouldn't do that because you don't know if that person is, like, talking with other people. So I guess it's kind of the same thing with long distance. I think you'd really have to have a lot of trust in that person just to make sure that they're not going and saying the same thing to you and other people as well.
Yeah.
True.
You can go.
Oh. I was going to say, since she's from Tennessee, she originally wasn't going to stay here for spring semester, so I kind of did some convincing so that she would stay, because that's a long ways away. And of course I would do my best to go visit when I could, but I feel like it definitely is a lot easier when you're together, or if you find ways to be together if you are long distance, whether it be flying over there, staying for a week or whatever. But
with long distance, it's a lot of communication, because a lot of it's going to be over text or over call, and things can be interpreted wrong, or you can misunderstand something. So it's just like you have to constantly be communicating and like showing that you still like care about them and like them, but also trying to finish what you're doing back home and like have your own life as well, and not just depend on that one person like on your phone all the time. And that's what makes long distance so hard, is the communication. And so that was one thing I had to think about a lot when getting with Dallen, because I was like, is this someone that I could do long distance with and know that he's not going to cheat on me or make me feel bad or make me sad? But so that was, I actually, before we started dating, I made him wait till I got back home to give him my answer, because I didn't tell him why. I just said, we're going to wait. And he's like, why? And I was like, you'll see. And he did really good. He called me every single day. He texted me every single day, and I would text back. And I realized that we had that communication there to make it work if we needed to.
Yeah, for sure. So here's where I'm at. When Rachel and I had that conversation, I had told myself I would never, ever, ever do distance. I was like, no, why would I do that to myself? That sucks. But in that moment when I was talking to Rachel, so this is, I hope she's okay with this. But we were walking, and what I said, like, just kind of to start the conversation was, hey, look, I really like you, but I don't want this just to be a summer flake, right? I think you're worth it. I think we should try it out, right? So I think it's finding out, like, if that person is worth it or not. We were both like, hey, let's try it out. Let's both put in the work. And we had the very big conversation about that. Like, hey, we both need to put in lots of work, because it's a lot of communication, like you were saying. It's a ton, right? So what we would do is we actually started this very, very early in our relationship. FSY, if you ever did FSY, there are late nights, super late nights. A lot of the times your kids just don't want to go to bed, and you can't go to bed until they're quiet for at least 15 minutes. So you have to sit and wait outside their door just listening.
I always felt so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks. No, it was fine. Most of my kids were pretty good, but like there was 1 week, Rachel's kids were awful. And she had to reset her stupid timer so many times, right? But we had told each other we're going to make this work, so we made it work, right? I would wait for her, be like, hey, call me when you're done, right? There were times when she wouldn't be able to call until about 1 a.m. Oh, wow. Right? And we're like, okay, no, we're going to call. And what we did is we started to read scriptures together. We would talk about our day for a little bit, especially if it was super late. We'd just be like, hey, this was great. Let's start reading, right? But we made it a goal that we were going to read a chapter of the Book of Mormon in Portuguese, because she speaks Portuguese as well. A chapter of the Book of Mormon in Portuguese together every night without fail. And we did, right? There were some super late nights, but there were also some nights where we could start talking at 10:30, and it was fantastic. And those conversations would go on forever, right? But even on those super late nights, we made sure that we talked with each other, right? So I think with distance, like you were saying, it's so much communication, and I think people dismiss the thought of doing distance way too fast. Yeah. Like, if you think that person's worth it, but you're scared of something, dog, if you're just scared of a relationship, you're never gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
You gotta take a risk. You gotta kind of just go for it, right? That's my opinion. I think you guys are on the same page.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely.
Yeah. So if you think they're worth it, go for it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at least you tried.
Right. For sure.
Okay. So we kind of went down this whole rabbit hole of relationships. Okay, we got super deep. We're gonna go back to the very, very beginning. First dates. Okay, the good, the bad, super awkward. We're gonna talk about first dates. Okay. I want you guys to each tell a great first date story and your worst first date story.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, I can start with the first one, the bad one.
The bad one.
I went on a date with this guy. This was last semester, I think, and he was sweet. He just would not look me in the eyes when we talk. He'd walk 5 feet in front of me, so I could barely hear him, barely see him, and we're walking these trails, and all he'd talk about was animals. And I would talk about myself. He'd ask me a question, I'd answer, get one word in, and he's like, so about this turtle, and I'd be like, okay. And so I'd start asking him questions, but he'd always bring it back to animals.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. And then after 30 minutes, he's like, so do you want to go home now? And I was like, I don't know. Do you want to go home? And he's like, yeah, I do. And I was like, okay. And he goes, this has been a really fun date. And I was like, okay. And he's like, do you want to go again? And I was like, I don't know. And he drops me off, and I'm smiling and laughing, and I took a picture with him, and I was like, this was so much fun, but I don't think we should do it again. He's like, what? I thought this was amazing. And I was like,
sorry.
There was no communication whatsoever. I didn't get to know you very well, and the date was only 30 minutes. And he was just very odd. No, this probably isn't actually the worst date I've been on, but it's the most, odd.
Yeah.
I walked through the door and shut the door, and one of my roommates was sitting on the couch, and she saw my smile just completely go away, and she goes, was it that bad? And I was like, yeah, because I don't know what was up with it, but that was that one. That one was just weird. Didn't look at him, couldn't see him, couldn't hear him. Just weird.
Yeah.
Let's keep going with the bad dates. We'll end on a good note.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think my worst date was actually, so I had my girlfriend, right? I was in high school about 16, 15, and my parents, they didn't really want me in a serious relationship, right? So they wanted me to go on spacer dates, so have a date in between the ones with my girlfriend. So while I had a girlfriend, I had to ask another girl out on a date, which was super awkward. So I didn't tell her I had a girlfriend, but my girlfriend knew I was going on this date. And so it was going okay. I picked her up, and she asked me if I was dating anyone, and I had to tell her yes, I had a girlfriend. And after I told her that, she was just silent the rest of the time, and it was just super awkward. And so, yeah, I dropped her off and took her home, and it was okay, but just the fact that I had a girlfriend at the time made it pretty weird. But
For sure. Ma, what do you think?
I haven't really had any bad dates.
Amen. Okay, so this one happened last winter, about a year ago actually. I had just broken up with this one girl, right? So this winter I was like, hey, I'm just gonna get myself out there, go on some dates, just have a good time. So I got mutual. Don't do it. Don't. Stop. No, I don't like mutual. Wasn't a fan at all. And this is the reason. I went on 10 mutual dates. Okay, is that your set?
yeah.
You know what? It works out. It's fun. But I went on 10 mutual dates, and I got catfished so hard. It was so stupid. This is the worst one. Okay, it was horrible. The date was 30 minutes, but here's the reason why. Okay, so I show up to this chick's apartment. I knock on the door. Door opens, and she's like, hey. I was like, hey, how's it going? Is this person here? She goes, that's me. I'm like, No, it's not. Don't be lying to me. Don't be lying, okay? So it was her. And out, like, on one of the doors, like, into the hallway, I saw a girl walk out. And that was the girl whose pictures were on the mutual profile.
Oh.
And I was like, no freaking way. But this girl was the one I had been talking to when I opened the door. I was like, are you for real? So I went on this date, and she was, of course, like, so butthurt that I was so, like, oh my gosh. She was upset, and I'm like, well, homegirl, you put pictures of your roommate instead of you. Like, that's stupid. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like the whole date was super awkward. I was like, I didn't know how to talk to her. I was like, I feel so stupid. This is so dumb. So it was 30 minutes, and I was like, yeah, no, we're done. So I took her back, and I didn't talk to her again. So it was like, come on, be real, be genuine. Like, it was so silly.
Don't lie on your profile.
Don't post your roommates instead of you.
Was it her roommate who made the profile, or was it her?
It was her who made the profile.
Oh, wow.
But she
Probably got
put
permission
pictures.
from the roommate too.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it
Because
past
they
her
have
like
a little thingy, don't they? The
oh, they do.
identification
Yeah,
thing.
you're right.
So the roommate wasn't on it.
Her roommate was like holding a Book of Mormon. Like, oh my gosh. Anyways, let's talk about good dates. Let's talk about good dates, because that's the meat right there. That's the good stuff. But Hallie, let's start with you again.
No.
A good first date.
I'm trying to think. Maybe you need to come back to me for a second.
All right. Do you guys have one?
Yeah. I guess technically it's not a first date. Is that okay? Or does it have to be a first date?
It's gotta be a first date.
Oh, man. Okay.
Maiya, you got one?
No.
Okay, Maiya's got one. We'll come back to you guys.
For me, with this one guy, we just went as friends, but it was really fun because we had a movie night and he showed me the Spider-Verse movie because that was really cool. I'd never seen it before. And so we just started out, we made pizza and made chocolate milk. That was really fun. And then we watched the movie, and then afterwards we just talked and had a photo. And that was really fun. That was a great time to hang out with them and make those memories.
You don't have one, I have one.
I'll let you go.
Okay. So my first date's kind of, I'm gonna count it because it was a first date,
Okay.
but it was with Rachel. We had already been dating, right? So that also like throws a little bit of like a twist to it.
Yeah.
But we went. I didn't pick her up because I didn't have a car. Because I flew down to Provo for like this whole thing. So she actually had to come pick me up, which is silly. But she came pick me up, and we went. We played frisbee golf, and it was a blast. Like the whole time. I had a speaker in my backpack. We were listening to some music and just talking the whole time. Like again, like we were already dating, but like we were really just getting to know each other a lot more. Like there's an endless amount of topics you can talk about with someone to get to know them, right? There are so many different things you can talk about. So we literally talked about everything while playing frisbee golf, and it was a ton of fun. Afterwards, we went to Cafe Rio and ate. It was fantastic, great time. We went back to her apartment because she still had one for school, and we watched Bluey, and it was fantastic because it was like super genuine. We did something else fun, got to know each other, but it was also like, yeah, you're super cute. Let's cuddle for a little bit. It's kind of fun. But best date right there.
Awesome.
It's a hard question. I know.
Yeah. You said just a best date or like best first date? Okay.
It was just a good first date.
Okay.
You came out and you were like, dang, that was a good time.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you have one?
Well, I'd say me and Hallie, I can't remember if it was our first or second date. Yeah.
I'll let you tell the story.
Okay.
Just tell the story.
I think it's a second date, but
Okay.
we had studied earlier that day together. We were doing homework, and then later that night, I was watching one of my friends' volleyball games, and we were texting, and she's like, "Yeah, I decided to go on a walk around this campus," and so I texted her back, and I was like, "Okay, bet I'll come find you." And so I went and found her. She was like by the Christmas lights at the time, and then we just started walking and talking, and as we're walking down the road, I held her hand for the first time, and then as we got to the street light to cross the crosswalk, we saw the biggest shooting star we'd
so
ever
bright.
seen. Like while we were holding hands, it was so romantic. And then after that, we went and got hot chocolate, and we went and drove around and looked at Christmas lights, and then I believe we had our first kiss that night too. So, all in all,
Pretty good one.
good one. Yeah.
You can't use that one.
I know I can't use that, but I could. If one of my favorite first dates was definitely the one. This is so cheesy, but I don't care. Was when I went with Dallen, because all my other ones were kind of like last semester were something else.
I know.
Yeah, I know you know. And I went on a lot.
Yeah.
And the one with Dallen was just, at first I couldn't really tell. If I'm talking really loud now. And I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell what the vibe was. But it was really fun. We went to, it was the one where I didn't have to plan it. Where I didn't have to just get in a car and drive around.
Right.
He was like, let's go to Fat Cats. And I was like, okay, cool. What are we going to do at Fat Cats? And he was like, because I don't think I'd ever been to Fat Cats at that point. I was
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
what the heck is that? Because I'm from Tennessee, so I don't know.
They haven't got that there.
Yeah.
They know. They got Chuck E. Cheese.
And accents. It's out of nowhere.
But we went to Fat Cats. We did mini golf, and I tried cheating. Like I tried really hard to cheat, but I could not. He would not let me. But he tried to cheat too. And I
As
was
you
like,
should.
okay.
See a cheater, be a cheater.
Right.
Oh, that's not good advice.
Not in dating. That's not.
Then we played arcade games, and that was really fun because we got competitive. We played a Minecraft game and got cards that were like really cool. We took a picture. It was really cute. And then he taught me how to throw axes because there was like an axe throwing game, and that was cool. And then we got a ton of tickets, and we got I think like 500 tickets total because I got most of them. And
Okay.
it's true though, I did. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you got a toy to shoot me with.
I did. I got a gun, a toy gun, a Nerf gun, and it's now in his car. I lost all bullet privileges.
As you should.
Yeah, and I lost all the bullets.
You literally lost all bullet privileges.
Yeah, but that was like one of the most fun ones that I had been on, and like I had actually felt like I'd made a connection, but I couldn't tell if he liked me or not, like at all.
But it was fun.
It was fun. It was so
fun.
much fun. I had so much fun. I texted him after. I was like, we should do it again, and he was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I think the next day after that was when we hung out again, and then every day after that we hung out every single day till I left. And then when I came back, every single day.
Every day.
Yep.
Amen.
Awesome.
Okay, so what I didn't tell you guys, there's a quiz. I prepared a quiz.
Oh boy.
So get ready.
Oh gosh.
All right. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Yep.
The first question is, what's the number one factor that makes someone more attractive according to studies? Is it A, their looks, B, their manners, C, their money, or D, their confidence?
Ooh.
D.
Probably D.
I'm gonna say D too. Confidence.
Your confidence.
Nice. Killed that.
Yes.
Bro.
So what is the most popular day of the year for couples to get engaged? Is it A, Halloween, B, 4th of July, C, May 4th, or D, Valentine's Day?
Why is
There's some
it May
Star
4th?
Wars. Yeah. No, there's some. I could totally see a bunch of the Star Wars kids being like, "Yeah, this is it."
It's true.
May 4th. That's what I'm gonna guess. It's May 4th.
I'm gonna say 4th of July.
4th of July?
I'm gonna say Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Oh man, I was like, it can't be that
I was trying not to be basic, but yeah.
It's basic. That's why it's the most popular.
Makes sense.
The day of love.
Yeah.
Ring.
Makes sense.
What food is scientifically proven to make people feel more romantic? Is it A, anything with garlic in it, B, a giant greasy pizza, C, ice cream with lots of toppings, or D, chocolate, especially the dark?
Chocolate.
It's chocolate. I was about to say spaghetti.
True or false? Rexburg is the most romantic city in the world.
Oh,
False.
No. Is it true? Because
Are you saying you're from Idaho?
I'm gonna say false, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it's false.
Okay.
So incredibly false. It's actually Paris.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, okay.
Paris.
From a certain point of view, Rexburg could be considered.
the Paris of the States.
Yes.
That's crazy.
The next question is, which of these is not a real dating app? Is it Mutual, Bumble, Snuggle Pals, or Tinder?
Snuggle pals.
That'd be a crazy Nick Mo site. For real.
Hey, you just want to snuggle?
Yo, are you a snuggle pal? What you doing?
And finally, what percentage of people believe in love at first sight? Is it A, 90%, B, 20%, C, 56%, or D, nobody believes in love at first sight?
C.
I'd say 20%.
It's 56%.
Yes.
Yay, y'all got
Get that
it.
up. Get that up.
Awesome. That's it.
Great.
Questions.
You passed.
Yes. And I actually did a poll, or well, the social media people did a poll about red flags. And so 18% of people said that talking only about themselves is a red flag. 15% of people said canceling at the last minute is a red flag.
Sophie, you want a burrito?
Being rude to wait staff, about 45% of people said that was a red flag. And not respecting personal space, 22% of people. So thank you so much for responding to that.
Are you guys following the
I
radio
am.
station?
I voted.
You voted?
You did?
Amen. Are you?
I'm actually not.
He's not on
Oh,
social
we're gonna
media.
get. Oh, you're not.
Yeah, I'm that guy.
So yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
I actually have a spotlight explaining some of the events going on. And so tonight when this episode airs, here, I'll turn this way so So tonight when this episode airs, there's an event for people in wheelchairs called Adaptive Sports 2025. It will be in the Heart 210 gym from 5:30 p.m. and goes until 7:30 p.m. And then another event tonight is something pretty fun that Campus Recreation is hosting called Battleship. It will be at 6 p.m. and will go till 10 p.m. at the Heart 215 swimming pool, and they're going to combine the lanes, so that's going to be fun. The next event is a jazz jam session happening at the Snow Building, room 181, the Ensemble Hall, from 7:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. There's also a game night happening later today as well. It's going to be held at the Man Mooring Center Crossroads from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then finally, for Thursday events, we have the Special Needs iServe event happening from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., located at the Hinckley Building, room 286. And then here are the events happening Friday. There's a lot going on.
Dang, next week it's
So,
crazy.
yeah.
No, it's gonna be next week.
That's next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
It's not this week. I'm crazy then.
No, yeah. So this is Valentine's Day. So the dance showcase is happening. It'll be at the Snow Building, room 115 from 7:30 to 9 p.m. Then there's going to be a Galentine's Fitness Night. This class combines high fitness kickboxing, step, high hit, and more for a workout that is fun as it is fierce. Just be sure to wear red and pink and bring your friends. And it'll be at the Heart Building, room 210 from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. There's also a voice area honor recital happening at the Snow Building, room 269, the recital hall. Its theme is Songs of Love and will be from 6:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. Let's not forget about the Valentine's Ball happening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Man Mooring Center, 220 Grand Ballroom. It's Girls Ask Guys. And finally, there's an international film being played at the Sporty Building, room 135 from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. The movie is called Falling in Love Like in Movies and is classroom dress plus free treatment. And that's all we have for Spotlight. Yay!
I'm definitely going to that Galentine's party. Just kidding.
That sounds like fun. All right, is that it?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you've been listening to The Spot, a production of BYU-Idaho Radio. Today's hosts were
Austin Bass.
Hallie, dude.
Dallen Larsen.
and Maiya Waddell. The views and opinions of this podcast are not that of BYU-Idaho Radio or the university, and are solely the opinions of the host. Producers were the hosts with supervision by Brennan Isle and Natalia Hepworth. Our theme music is Finding Happiness by DJ Quads and The Perpetual Ticking of Time by Artificial Music. To listen to more episodes of The Spot, Spot, like and follow us on social media or visit our website, byui.edu/radio, and click podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the Spot podcast wherever you get your podcasts and leave a review of the show and leave a comment on what we should talk about next.